Hello, Melissa.
Hey.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Perfect. I'm at a conference, so it's maybe noisy because they're switching sessions right now, but I think by noon we'll be good.
Okay. I decided to actually plug into the microphones that I always have in front of me
Yeah, I was
when
like, you look
I'm.
fancy with
Yeah,
your
right.
microphone. That is awesome. I was like, I brought my external monitor that travels, and
Oh,
I can
that's a good
never get
idea.
the flip thing right.
Oh yeah, I have one of those. I always forget about it. It's
Yeah,
super
yeah,
handy. I just always forget about it.
yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. Hello and welcome, everyone. How are you doing, Melissa?
Oh, I'm great. How are you?
Doing really well. I'm really excited about today's session. We're going to be exploring transforming school-wide learning through AI and spaces. So, what is your favorite thing about transforming school-wide learning through AI and spaces, Melissa?
So I'm a digital learning specialist at a high school, and so a lot of what I do is working with teachers to kind of help them work with their students. So what I love about using AI and using spaces is how I can work with those teachers and show them how to kind of make things easier for themselves and how to use techniques and tools that will kind of allow them to enhance their own learning, enhance their teaching, and which it ends up making it more fun for the students. So it's really cool to work with the teachers and then see that growth and then see how it impacts the students on the other end.
Yeah, and I love how you're so focused on like student growth, right? Like even though we're impacting teachers and that school-wide learning, it's impacting our students, which is really important. So in the chat is a link to the slides. So there is a link to the slides if you want to follow along or save it for later to reference back to. But my name is Stephanie Howe, and I'm a community coach here at School AI. And I have been a intervention specialist. I've also been an instructional coordinator and coach. So really excited to be here today. And then we have Melissa, who's here as well.
Yeah, like I said, a digital learning specialist at a high school in New Hampshire. I am an early adopter of School AI. I've been using it for over 2 years now, and I'm a huge fan and just love using it at least daily, and then sharing it with teachers.
Awesome. All right. So again, if you're watching the recording, you can grab the link here. Just pause the video, type in that tiny URL, and make sure you follow along. Just a reminder, all sessions are recorded. So if you have to step out or if you're maybe watching the recording, hi, welcome recorders. We are recording today's session, so you will have that available. Also, make sure that you connect and share on social media. Here is the hashtags that you can use, and we would love to connect with you as well. I know I would for sure, and I'm pretty sure Melissa would as well. She's like, yeah. So make sure you connect with us on social. And then thanks to our sponsors. So this conference couldn't be possible without the sponsors. So thank you to our sponsors. So Melissa, what is the agenda for today?
Yeah, we're going to start out. We've already kind of done a little bit of a welcome, but we'll kind of introduce you guys through the chat and things like that. We'll talk about kind of why we're here, what our goals are. Then we're going to jump into School AI. We're going to take a look at what a space is and how you can find them, how you can use them. Then we're going to actually give you guys some opportunity to come up with something that you, whether you struggle with or something that feels like it takes a lot of time for you. We're going to have you come up with sort of a problem to solve and then actually use spaces to solve it. And hopefully you leave this session with a space that you can start using today, share with your colleagues tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it. All right. So, again, we're going to dive in. You already met us, but here is our emails. If you have any questions or need anything, please reach out. We would love to support you. If you get stuck, if you're like, what did they say? Because the recording's not available right now, let us know, and we're more than happy to support. So, we want to know in the chat, where are you? Where are you located? Where are you joining in from? So, just take a few moments in the chat and share a little bit more about yourself and where you're joining in from. Awesome. Okay, and so we want to know, what goals do you have for today's session? So we actually have a space that we would love for you to join. I'm going to put the link for the space in the chat. This is a quick 2-minute kind of pulse check, just to kind of get a feel for where you're hoping this session kind of guides and goes, so we can make sure to cater for you. So there is a QR code if you're watching the recording. Again, feel free to pause. You can scan this QR code with maybe like your phone or a tablet. You can also type in the code right here. And then again, there is this longer link that I placed in the chat. If you're new to seeing that code, you can just go to schoolai.com. And once you're here, up at the top, it says space code. You can click on that, and then you can type in that 8-digit code if you're joining later. So again, just schoolai.com, type in that code. And once you join that space, it's just going to ask you some questions. So we'll give everybody, you think about 3 minutes, Melissa?
Yeah.
All right, 3 minutes. I'm going to set a timer because if I don't, I'll forget. I'm going to put that code back up there. I'm also going to fill it out because I always love learning from Melissa. And again, if you're new to a space, you'll just join that link code or type in that URL. And once you're here, you're going to be introduced by Dot, and you're going to kind of go through and share first your emotions. Like, how are you feeling today? Then, once you fill in that emotion, you're going to share a little bit more about your vibe on AI. So, how comfortable do you maybe feel? And then we want to know, what are your goals? What are you hoping to walk away with after today's session? So, you've got just a few more moments, about 30 minutes left to share those goals that you have. We've got mission control up, and we can kind of see how everyone's kind of doing in that space, those takeaways that we maybe have. And I love to use this space as well when I'm working with teachers to get kind of, okay, what are they hoping to get out of this session if I'm using it for a professional learning reason?
I'll let the concierge just know if that's enough.
All right, time is almost up. You got about 10 seconds to share those thoughts, share your mood, share how you feel about using AI, and then sharing that goal. And again, if you are watching the recording, please join. Feel free to join in and share and answer those questions as well. If you're unable to join, feel free to share in the chat. How are you doing? Let us know using your emojis. I know we've got California representing, the Bahamas. Don't you wish you were there, Melissa?
I
It's
do.
cold in Ohio. Yeah, Florida.
A little chilly in New Hampshire.
Yes, I know these like northern states. Okay, awesome. Time's up. So, Melissa, have you ever used a space to just kind of get a quick pulse check from your staff?
Yeah, and this one is kind of cool. If you make it all the way through, I was kind of hoping that I could share my image in the chat, but it doesn't seem to want to
Oh,
let me.
no.
But one of the things with School AI is that you can incorporate an image generator into it. So I like to kind of end my quick little bell ringer things with something a little fun. So this one, once you get to the end, it generates a little badge for you. So it's just kind of a fun little thing. You know, it's one thing to just chat back and forth with AI, but to pull in just that little thing that makes someone smile at the end is kind of cool. Gets them kind of excited to move forward.
Yeah, and mine is creating that image that Melissa's talking about. Oh, look at that.
Wow.
I kind of want to print that out and show my mom. Yeah, so feel free to share your badge on social media. I know they want sharing, so there's something you could share. And it's such a bummer we can't share in the chat. Dang it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can definitely use those power ups to support. All right, awesome. So let's go ahead and dive into our learning objectives today. So what is our goals today, Melissa?
So first goal, we want to integrate the AI tools responsibly and effectively into our teaching practice. So we always talk about student responsible use of AI. Teachers also need to be making sure that they're using AI responsibly. So we tell students we don't want you to just put in a prompt and take that essay and give it as your own. Same kind of deal for teachers. That's something I always really focus on with my teachers is if you wouldn't like your students doing it, you shouldn't do it either. So make sure that you understand how to use it responsibly and effectively within that teaching practice. Second one, learning specific ways that instructional leaders can use spaces to help teachers. So sometimes the teachers don't necessarily always have the time to go and build their own space, but our instructional leaders can go in and create spaces for teachers that can be shared out. So whether it's they need support with, we're going to look at an example with UDL concepts or special education concepts that need to be covered that maybe teachers struggle with. If an instructional leader creates a space, those teachers can just jump on and they can get that support anytime, 24/7. Third goal is scaling equitable student-centered approaches to learning across classrooms. So again, focus being on the students. As much as we want to support teachers, at the end of the day, the focus is always on our students and making sure that they're able to learn. So the more we support teachers, the more we then support students on that back end. And then last goal, we're going to actually practice. We're going to get in there. We're going to dive in and practice designing and sharing spaces that can do lesson templates, coaching plans, professional learning activities, whatever. I mean, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and I think too, we're going to kind of think through this question of as an instructional coach, leading this school-wide supporting and change. I don't know if anybody else had this thought, but like it can't be everywhere at once. When I was an instructional coach, I was supporting over 150 teachers. And I just remember like going home and I'm like, I can't be everywhere at once, even though I want to be, right? I had, 5 buildings that I was trying to support. And again, I wanted to be there, but I just couldn't be. And so we're going to kind of explore how we can kind of use spaces to really support. But maybe you're a teacher that's watching. You can't be everything for your students at once, right? Like you can't be everything for your students. And that's where AI can really come in to help. So Melissa, do you have like a pain point where you're like, oh, I wish I could be everywhere at once too? Or are you able to? Maybe Melissa's Superwoman.
Yeah, a little bit. I have started practicing cloning myself. I'm not quite there. I can usually get myself in 2 places at once, but beyond that, it's tough. Yeah, I mean, just being a digital learning specialist, even though I'm only in one building, it's still, this teacher, I've got my calendar, people can schedule me. So maybe I'm meeting with this teacher, but then this other one needs me to come into the class to help them figure something out. And so, yeah, I mean, you want to help as many people as you can. And, it comes down to the more you support teachers over time, the less they need you, which is sort of my goal. And I've found that in my 5 years doing this job is that teachers I helped every single day 5 years ago, I don't ever see them anymore. I have to say, what, you don't need me anymore? You've got this now? And that's the goal. Like, it's what we want to see from our students too. When you're teaching them, they ask a million questions. You want to get them to the point where they don't need to ask questions. They're actually helping others, which is what I get too, is the more I teach, the more those people start teaching the people around them, which is a great experience. But where spaces can come in is it can be that second person. It can be that assistant. I actually made a space that was the assistant to the digital learning specialist at one point, and it gives teachers ideas. And if they get to a point where it's like, I need help using this tool, then it says, oh, well, here, schedule time to work with Melissa to actually learn how to use the tool. So you can do things like that too, like almost like a little buffer, a little assistant to before they reach you.
Yes, I love that. Awesome. Okay, so now we're going to kind of explore some spaces. When we explore spaces, we're going to kind of show 2 different ways because, again, we're focusing more on that adult learner, that teacher, that educator. And so you're going to see a space that could be used for maybe professional learning, but then you're also going to have a space that could really help with productivity and helping with their workflow and maybe some of those pain points that teachers have when it comes to teaching. So Melissa, do you want to share your UDL lesson adapter?
Yeah, sure. So this one, and as we're going through this,
Oh no. Let's see what's going on.
I just clicked on it and it worked a minute ago.
It could be me. Let me find out if I can get it up. But go ahead and keep talking.
Yeah, so as we start showing you guys spaces, one of the options is going to be when you open a space, you're going to have the ability to start a new session. And when you start those new sessions, it's going to give you the choice between launching a session for a class or for yourself. Here we go. So we have three choices here: share link with your class, send through your LMS, or just launch it for yourself. So something like the UDL support tool is one that you would launch for yourself. So it's a lesson adapter. Basically, what it's designed to do is to help you adapt your lesson that you've already made and get some supports that kind of follow the UDL standards. So basically what it has you do is upload or describe a lesson that you have done in the past, and then it sort of explains the UDL concepts and then how you could take your existing lesson and make those adjustments to it. So it's just, again, a really cool way that if your school is implementing these strategies, as a teacher, you can get overwhelmed when someone says, "Oh, here's our new a new initiative that we're doing, and you're going to have to rework all the lessons that you do to make sure that you do all of this." I'm like, "Well, I worked so hard on making all these lessons, and now what do I do? How do I don't really fully understand what this stuff is." So again, rather than let's say you have someone who is an expert in UDL in your building, rather than have every single teacher go to that person, you can build a space like this where it can it can be that assistant, it can be that starting point to give you some ideas. And then if you then need to go on and talk to a real person and get more ideas, then you can absolutely do that. So feel free to go ahead and launch that for yourself. The link is right there in our presentation. So you can go ahead and launch it to test it out. Just upload or describe a lesson you've done before and kind of see how it works for you.
Yeah, and what I like about it too is it's like pushing me because I'm like, oh, I don't really have a lesson right now off the top of my head during the session, but it's really pushing me to think through my lesson objectives. It's helping me think through, did your students read aloud in pairs in class? And, after I get through step one, it's going to take me through those UDL ideas and suggest those adaptations to really help me with that foundation that I already have. I already have this lesson kind of in my head organized, right? You can attach files, and now I'm ready to level it up with UDL. So really love this space that you shared, Melissa. I think it's amazing. And again, if you want it, it's right here on this first one. Tell us about this Google Sheets one.
Yeah, so this is kind of going a completely different direction. So as a digital learning specialist, part of my job is to teach teachers how to use technology. So if you're a technology coach, if you're an instructional coach, any kind of thing like that where you might need to offer some professional development to teachers, I wanted to explore using spaces to do it. And this is something that I'm just starting to kind of explore doing. So this was a kind of a test to be able to see how well School AI could differentiate a professional development opportunity. So I just threw a piece of technology at the wall, went with Google Sheets and said, all right, I want to make it sort of almost like ask the teacher, do like a pre-assessment, say, hey, how confident do you feel in using Google Sheets? And then from there, have it, let's say they say, oh, I'm an expert. Okay, well, now I'm going to ask you a question to make sure you're actually an expert. And then from there, it's going to kind of walk you through how you can use Sheets, how you could use it for yourself within your class, and then actually train you in particular formulas. And the differentiation part comes where if you're, let's say, super basic, not comfortable at all with Sheets, it's going to just move you to that next step. If you say you're an expert, you're going to start playing with, more advanced formulas, pivot tables, things like that. So it's not going to take a beginner and be like, all right, let's talk about an if formula. It's going to say, okay, your basic level of experience, let's talk about, formatting. Let's talk about maybe, a simple formula, but it's not going to overwhelm them. So the idea is just, let's move you up a step. So it worked really well in doing this for that differentiated piece. I've also done, not with this one, but with other PD spaces that I've played with, where I have it attach a certificate of completion at the end. So I just have it as like a Google slide template. And then once they get all the way through the agenda, it gives them that link to to the Google Slide template, they add their name, and now they have a certificate of completion too. So it almost acts as like a mini course. You could have it generate a badge too if you really wanted to.
Yeah, and what I love about this type of space, again, you said like it differentiates. I said I'm a fifth grade math teacher, and look, it gave me math ideas. It didn't give me ELA, high school science. It gave me ideas that I could actually use as a fifth grade math teacher. So that is what's really cool about, again, I can't be everywhere at once. I can't know everything at once either as a coach. And so having that AI as a thought partner can be really helpful because now there's three of you that can sit in the room. You know, I could sit there with the AI, Dot. I can have the teacher and me, and we can be brainstorming together and talking through, you know, what do you think about this? Or again, if I can't be there, they can go through and it's not overwhelming because it's adapting to what they need as an educator.
And if you are one who likes who needs to track, you know, who is completing this, we talked about how to launch those spaces. So Stephanie just launched it for herself, but if you were a coach, you could launch it for a class, call it, you know, quote unquote class, share that link out with your staff, and then it puts everyone into your mission control, which we looked at before, and lets you see how everyone is doing, how they're progressing through it. So that way you're kind of tracking that PD that way. So it kind of adds a little bit, really makes it into a course versus just sharing the link out and letting people launch it for themselves. So it gives you a little bit more control.
Yeah, and if Melissa's coaching me, she can click on my chat and she can see everything that I said, and she can be like, oh, Stephanie, I see that you're not having a great day, or I see that you are having a great day. What's going on here? I can see quick insights to know, okay, I need to chat with this principal, or I need to go chat with this teacher to provide support. So again, launching as a class, so this option, or through your LMS can be a really great way to do that. Awesome. You can also do formative assessment strategies where, again, I am able to set up a space, and we're going to walk through how to create a space like this. And once you create that space, I can go in, launch that session. And as a teacher, right, I get that dashboard to see how my students, or as my tech coach, as my teachers are completing that space. And so with this formative assessment space, I can come in and I say exactly, right? I teach fifth grade math. My class size is 30 students. I'm teaching fractions right now. Oh, well, here are 6 different ways that I can do a quick formative assessment to support my students. Again, it's tailored to math. It's tailored to that 30 students in my class. I really like this whiteboard checks, right? And so then I can get more ideas for what this might look like in my classroom. I'm able to chat. I can ask more questions. I can push it to its limits. Oh, actually, I hate all 5 of these ideas or all 6 of these ideas. Give me 20 more, and it will give you 20 more. And that's just what I love. I love that I'm able to come in and maybe you just want 2 ideas at a time. Give me 2 more. Give me 2 more. Or if you are that person like me that loves the oversharing, you are able to get more details from that space. Also, you can export. So this is using the document power up. And then I can export this document to my Google Drive, and I'm able to then share this with a co-teacher or my coach or a principal. And I'm able to kind of come in and I can edit any pieces that I might need to. So like right here, Stephanie is my student name. We'll do my son, AJ. We'll do Melissa. Oh, and look, I can have my tracking sheet right there ready to go for this activity that I'm going to use with my students that next day. And then there's a parent-teacher conference guide too. So maybe I need a little bit support. Maybe you're a newer teacher, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm really nervous for this conference that I have upcoming with my parents. This can be a great way, again, to kind of go through those steps and think through what are the goals? What is that progress? I need a simple agenda to have with those parents, those communication tips. And then I can also have tips for running that conference. So there's a ton of different ways that you can use spaces for professional learning, but also to support with like workflow or lesson brainstorming. So there are 3 different types of spaces. We're really going to focus in on these teacher and staff spaces today. Student spaces are for students. So if you're working as a coach with students, maybe you're co-teaching in a class, that would be the option that you would want to choose. So once you go to schoolai.com and you sign in, we are using the updated beta version. Okay. So with that, this is the platform here. you're going to go ahead and hit unlock, okay? Because I feel like we've got a lot of beta users here. Just a warning though, beta is a little buggy, right, Melissa? Sometimes Dot does not cooperate because the engineers are working behind the scenes with getting the spaces ready to go. And as these are ready to go, they're going to go out into the platform, but we are going to be using 2.0 today. So right here, I've got my space. This is Dot. And then there's create a space. So down below, there's some stars. There's also discover. Discover is where you can search for spaces that other educators have made. So I could search for a formative assessment. I could search for any topic that I might be wanting to dive into. And so that is something that you could do as well. Right here says create a space. We've got student learning, teacher productivity, and staff operations. Okay, so we have 3 choices. Again, students is that guided student activities. It's very guardrailed. We're not just sending them out into an AI chatbot. It has different guardrails to kind of support, so it doesn't allow students to have the AI do their work. They have to think. It uses a lot of questioning, a lot of reflection as well. What has been your experience with student spaces, Melissa?
Yeah, the students, I think teachers really appreciate having that control over what students can or what the AI can and can't do for the students. So some teachers are okay with, like, I had one group of teachers that was doing, the students had to write a Native American myth. And so the students had done all the research and they had kind of written the story, so it was a feedback space. And so the students were putting in each paragraph one at a time and then getting feedback based on the teachers had uploaded kind of their requirements. So the students put in their writing, the space was giving them feedback on that writing, then they would, rewrite if necessary. Once they were happy with it, then the space would give them 5 ideas for a title. So the teachers didn't necessarily care about the kids coming up with the title. They wanted them to do the writing, but they were like, you know what, the AI can give them 5 ideas for the title. And then they also had, again, I'm a huge fan of the image generator. So they had it generate an image that was related to their story. So it took all their writing and then generated an image, and the kids loved it. And they ended up then podcasting, like recording themselves reading it too. So it's a really cool project that the space doesn't need to be the only thing. It can be a part of the thing. It can be a support element. It can be feedback. There's 100 different things you can do with spaces, which makes it so the kids don't get like, oh, we're doing a space again. Okay. Because every single one is different.
Yeah. Yeah, I love how you said that too. And they're getting the support. If they're stuck, you can create a space that has sentence starters or examples or whatever you want to say. Now, you can also create a space that does not have those things. Mm-hmm. And so you can decide, again, based on that purpose. So let's go ahead and kind of begin to create. So we're going to start with a problem. So what's the problem we have, Melissa?
My problem, well, I guess it's not a problem. A teacher that I worked with all right, let's start here. When I was a teacher, I hated writing rubrics. I hated it. It was my least favorite thing. I hate rubrics. I found that the kids don't even look at them. There's like 900,000 words on a page, and it was just too much. And then grading them, how do I know the difference between a 2 and a 3? Partially show, just terrible. I just do not like rubrics. So one of my first years as a digital learning specialist came across a teacher who introduced me to the single point rubric, which just mind blown, amazing. So the idea is essentially you have one column that has what amounts to your level 3, your proficient level. This is what I want you to accomplish. This is the goal that I want you to accomplish in each category criteria. And then on either side of that, on the left side, you would have areas for growth, and on the right side, you would have areas of strength. And then the teacher actually writes in that. So it's not just, oh, I'm checking a box and you partially did blah, 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 blah. No, it's let me tell you exactly where you need to improve. Let me tell you exactly where you went above and beyond. So it was amazing for me. So then the question is, if you go into most AI tools and you say, generate a rubric for me about blah, 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 or you put your project in and you say, generate a rubric for this project, you're going to get that 4-point rubric. You're going to get those boxes or just like paragraphs, however, but it's not going to be the single point rubric. So what I wanted to do was say, I want to create a space that will generate single point rubrics for me so that I can, instead of having to go in and say, generate a rubric, nope, now make it a single point rubric, or go in and have to write this big prompt every time, generate a single point rubric that looks like this and has this column and that column and does this and does that. Instead of having to do that every time, what if there was a space that is already designed to have that layout, to have that sectioned off, that format, and then all I have to do is upload my project or even just describe my project. So that's
Awesome.
this
I
kind
love
of
it.
focus I went through.
Yeah, so we want you guys to think of your pain point that you're dealing with as a leader, as a coach, as an educator. Share it in the chat. So think of a problem. We're going to use this single point rubric because, yeah, it's annoying, right? And so here I am. I'm going to go ahead and go to that star again. So I go to create a space. We're in that beta version, so make sure you switch over. And then we're going to go into teacher productivity, okay? Because this is a teacher productivity. Staff operations would be more for if I wanted to do a pulse check with my staff, or I wanted to check in or have that mission control data. You will get the mission control data with this space too, though. So now we're going to build our space. So we want to build a single point rubric, okay? I can include any details. So I really love this resource from the Cult of Pedagogy. So I'm going to go to File, and I can actually print this. And instead of printing it, I'm going to save it as a PDF. I love adding in additional resources into my spaces. So where it says File, go ahead, Melissa.
I got to tell you, just blew my mind because I know that you can do that. I've never done that. Like, save the entire web page as a PDF. I've never done that. Like, you just blew my mind. Thank you. I'm always like looking, searching for PDFs, but that never occurred to me. So thank you.
Yeah. So I just go here again. I hit File, and then instead of printing it, you hit print. Even though you're like, no, I don't want to print it. Save as a PDF. Okay, and then save it. And then and then you can add this into your space. Okay. This is going to just help the space have more context. Like AI would probably know what a single point rubric is, but I really like to add in, curriculum resources or the activity that I'm having my students do. So it's more details to get a better output. Okay, we want to build a single point rubric that we can come into the space and reuse to make our rubric. Okay, enter. You don't need to be a prompt engineer anymore, okay? You once had to, but now we can collaborate with Dot. So again, Dot's this cute little Dot. And Dot is going to help us as we're going through. So Dot's going to use additional questions to help us. Okay, do we have a certain standard that we want to use with this, Melissa, or what are your thoughts?
I think keep it pretty generic.
For any K-12 subject.
Anyone. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Is there any criteria or language we want to include?
I think that would go into what you want, like those labels to be.
Yep. So we'll do depends on the standard and grade level. Want to add any steps for reviewing or editing our rubrics? I don't think so. Maybe export as a document?
Yeah.
Okay. Is this for 5th grade ELA? No. K-12. So I'm just answering these questions. I did already upload from Code of Pedagogy. And if you hit Shift Enter, it will give you a new line. Okay, so I know sometimes people get really frustrated with AI because you're like, well, every time I hit Enter, it hits Send. Shift Enter. Yes, Shift Enter can help you.
And also note that it asked her a couple of questions about ELA and 5th grade ELA. It will start to recognize what you do, what you teach, and your content area, which can be a little frustrating if you are in a role like an instructional coach or a technology coach where you work with a lot of people, because it almost sort of like mine thinks I'm a science teacher for some reason. So that can get a little bit frustrating. But if you are a 5th grade ELA teacher and you're always doing 5th grade ELA, it's super convenient that it's always just going to make that assumption.
Yep, agree. Okay, so right here we've got agenda steps. Okay, so that is what we love about the beta version, is that Dot will create those agenda steps, and it will kind of take you through this workflow to create that single point rubric or whatever your problem is. So right here, I've got set the assignment, just draft the criteria, add descriptives, review, edit, and then we're going to export it into our Google Drive. Okay, so we have all of these different steps in order to help us. On step 5, you'll notice that there's a power up. Okay, so some of the steps don't have this power up. Power ups is what Melissa loves with her image generator. It's probably her favorite. So you can have power ups where you're able to take that learning, and now it's not just a chat back and forth, but now you have something that is multi-sensory to support student learning. So if I want an image generator, I love to use that with vocabulary. I can have the students describe a word, and then it will create an image of what they described. There's a mind map to help them organize concepts and ideas. There's even a presentation creator. So maybe one of your workflows is you want to create a daily warm-up and you want it to be added into a presentation. That could be one of your options. From here, you can go into preview. So I can preview what this would look like for a teacher. I'm going to go ahead and just publish this space, and we're just going to take a risk. Highly recommend previewing. And then if you see any errors, what I like to do is I like to use Command F, and then I can search for a keyword. So maybe like single point rubric. Maybe I wanted to change all of these. I can quickly find the keywords that I'm like, oh, I don't like this part in the agenda. You can go and update and edit it if there's something that you don't like. All of these boxes are completely editable. You can delete, change whatever you need to. Maybe you want to add additional scaffolds or take things away, or maybe you want it to automate, certain parts of it. You can come in, again, I like to use that Command F, search for a keyword, and then I can quickly find and edit my prompt.
You can also chat with Dot and say, hey, this isn't working the way I want. Can you help me change whatever? So that's another option too. If you're not comfortable editing the prompt yourself, you can go in and just keep that conversation going with Dot, and Dot will, most of the time, regenerate that space for you. Again, beta issues, sometimes it takes a few tries for Dot to actually regenerate it, but when it works great.
Yep, so over here where it says reply to Dot, that's where you can say, I don't like step 2, help me make this better. I also like to talk to Dot, so you can speak into the computer. I don't know, Melissa, if you're like me, but I'm like, I don't want to type all this, I just want to speak it.
No, I type everything. I never even think about using the speak.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. I use it all the time. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and publish this. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to share this session just in case anybody's curious. Again, I haven't tested it yet. Highly recommend testing your space before you just send out the link. And now I'm going to go ahead and join this space. From here, you have files, you have standards, and you have power-ups down below. In a student space, they will not have power. They won't be able to attach anything right now. I don't know if that's going to be a power up eventually, but right now your students will not have these features. And that's why you really want to click when you're creating a space, teacher or staff operations. That gives the teachers the power. For Melissa's space where she had UDL, it gives the teachers the opportunity to upload their lesson. Okay. Student spaces do not have that. You can create student spaces for teachers, just know that they won't have the files, standards, and power-ups. All right, so let's go ahead and build our single point rubric. I'm going to go with grade 5. I can attach a standard by clicking on my standards. Let's go ahead and do a math standard. We'll do geometry. You can share your learning goals, your objectives. I can share a little bit more about my assignment name. So my students are creating a geometry world with different shapes for their buildings. And again, you can kind of watch us go through these different steps. We're going to grab those criterias now. We're going on to step number 2 now that it's got all of my ideas. You'll see that AI will help if you get stuck and you're like, help me think of some criteria. You can ask for help if you need to, or you can just come up with your own if you're ready to go. you'll also see here like growth and excellence if we want to create that. I'm getting on to my descriptors now. So again, we're at step number 3. And before, I feel like this would take hours to create that single point rubric, but now I've got the help with School AI to help me with that. Awesome. I love somebody's trying it out. Very cool. And so then again, when you're ready to have this space, you can hit new session and you can share this with a team if you're working with like a group of teachers to create different single point rubrics. Maybe you're preparing a unit, or you can launch it for yourself if it's just for you. Also, if you're like, where does this go? Do you ever lose your spaces, Melissa?
All the time. All
Yes,
the
so
time.
organize is where you can find that space. So after you make the space, you might exit out of that tab. And then right here, it says single point rubric builder. And that's where you can find your space.
The other option you have is if you go back to that place where you can launch it, you can also share a link directly to that page, so that let's say you want to share it out with staff, but you don't really want to you don't want to see all of their rubrics, which you would see if you launch it for a class. You would be able to see their conversations, their chats, their rubrics. If you just share the space with the teachers, it'll take them to this same page where they can then launch it for themselves. So that keeps it a little more private. So there might be some cases where you want to be able to track that data on the teachers, but some cases where you just want to provide a resource. That's a common issue right there that Dot was doing, is filling out the growth and excellence for you. So I had to be pretty precise when I made this in my prompt to say, make sure you leave those columns blank. And
I do like too, like maybe I want to see those examples.
And then you can just
yeah.
delete them. Yeah, delete them after the fact.
I just want my single point rubric with nothing inside the tables. And also that 3 dots is right here, and you can again share with others. You can also save your creations into collections, which are called folders. So those are folders that can also help you organize.
And you can save other people's spaces into collections as well. So if you liked this one, you could save it. It will still acknowledge that Stephanie created it, but you can have it into your collection. And I can put in the chat because I had made one of these too that I did kind of go back and forth with Dot. So you can kind of compare and contrast. So there's that one in the chat too.
Yeah, and again, Melissa had more time to give more details. The more details you provide, the better outputs you're going to get. So just like she said, where I had it filling it out for me, that is something that I could go in, and you can hit this edit button with this little pencil, chat with Dot, and tell Dot, I don't want you to fill it out for me. I want it to have those criterias. I want it in a table. I want it with bullet points. I want it to look like this. I want that. You get to be really picky when you're chatting with Dot. So you can share all of that while you're chatting. And then once you make those changes, just make sure you hit publish this space, and it will update for future uses. And then we can export. So now I can export my nice little single point rubric and use it with my students.
It's also a lot easier single point rubrics for the students to understand. Like I said, it's overwhelming for teachers to look at those giant tables with 4 blocks of text. And then, so for the students, it's even more overwhelming to see that. So when it's just one thing that they need to focus on, one goal, they might actually read it, which a lot of times students just ignore rubrics. So.
Yeah. So again, we want you to kind of create a space, okay? We know the session is coming to a close, but at some point this week, we would love for you to pick a problem, okay? Melissa had that problem with rubrics, right? So you're going to pick some type of problem. Maybe it's a classroom management problem that you have. Maybe it's something that is a workflow problem that you're like, this just takes me forever. Then we want you to go in, create that space, the star. You're going to create a teacher productivity space. Once you create your space, preview your space, see if there's any changes or edits that you need to make, have those conversations with Dot as you're creating that space, and then publish the space and give it a try. Start using it to hopefully save some work time, and that way you get a really nice output every time you use it. So from here we have, problem to practice. So again, you can also use spaces for professional learning, right? We can always identify the problem. Okay, so what problem are my teachers experiencing? Then I can create a space for it. So maybe, again, my teachers are not using formative assessments. I can identify that problem. Now I can investigate. I can think, okay, as my teachers are working through it, because I can't be everywhere at once, I can create a space where they can go in, get those 10 different ideas on how they can implement formative assessment, and now they're able to select. That's where in the coaching cycle, I'm able to come in, use that mission controlled data and say, hey, let's co-teach and use that whiteboard activity that we saw at the beginning that Dot suggested. And then we can reflect together on how that went as well. So again, you're really able to use that problem to practice to really support your coaching cycle when you are using spaces for professional learning too. Okay, so again, it's your turn to pick that problem, create that space, preview it, make edits, and then publish it so you're ready to use it over and over and over again. What I love about School AI is you can save it in your Google Drive, but right here where it says about, this is the agenda. I can see my agenda that I have, but then right here where it says sessions, it's going to remember, unless you delete them, it's going to remember all of your past sessions. So if I needed to go back, I can come in here and rename it. So I think this was a 5th grade geometry. I can save that so then I could come back next year and I have it already made. So I could hit view and I could view that chat. I could add additional comments if I need to update it, reflect on that lesson. And then again, I can do a new session for myself. I can rename it right here. And then again, I can start that session and I'll remember everything that I've ever created right in School AI. So again, there are tons of spaces on slide 17 that you're able to use, remix, kind of see how other teachers are using these common teacher spaces to support productivity, to support professional learning. So make sure you check out these spaces for additional resources, ideas, and again, you can customize it. Maybe you have a certain flow that you follow for subplans, and it's not the same flow that I have. Maybe you're like, I don't need to do rules and procedures. I already have that printed out in my binder ready to go. Maybe you're like, I just need step 4 and step 5. That's it, right? Like you can recreate your spaces that align with you, but these are just some ideas to help you, or you can use these as well. And so we would love for you to share your space. So there is a link here on this slide. And again, feel free, once you create that space, you're also going to find other teachers who have already created spaces kind of with an activity that we did. So we would love to see your spaces that you have created. I'm going to share this link over in the chat. You guys have a lot of links. It's also in the slides. And you can, again, kind of see here different spaces that teachers have created. So I'm going to go ahead and put Melissa. She shared her amazing single point rubric with us. And you'll just paste that link so that we can reuse, see how other teachers gather ideas on how other people are using School AI spaces. So again, we would love to collaborate, love to see how you are using these teacher spaces to help with your ideas as they come to life. Any questions?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, I have to fight them.
I didn't see any in the chat. Did you, Melissa?
No, I think we had a couple, but we took care of them in the chat. So
Yeah.
we're good.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, awesome. So if you do have questions, again, our emails are in the slides. Make sure you reach out to us. The session recording is going to be found under replay. So if you have anything that you need, it's going to be under replay as well as on YouTube. And then again, your feedback matters. So we would love, love, love to have your feedback. So I'm going to put this link in the chat as well. That way you can share that feedback with us. and the team. Hopefully you were able to gather some type of idea, takeaway from today's session to really grow your learning. Right. Anything else, Melissa, that you can think of?
I don't think so. I think we covered it all.
Awesome.
Yeah, you can join the Glow community there. There's a link there on the slideshow at the end.
Yeah, and I would love to do a raffle too. So let's give away some type of School AI swag. Melissa, does that sound good to
AI
you?
has the best swag.
They do. They really do. I'm getting lots of compliments at the conference I'm at right now. So again, here is that link. Even if you're watching the recording, fill it out. I'll probably give it maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I'll pick a winner. So if you are watching the recording, we'll still let you in, but maybe I'll give the folks that were here live an extra raffle ticket. So if you're here live, fill that out. And we will make sure that you get that swag. Awesome. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. We had a blast, and we can't wait to see how you're going to be using School AI with your staff and with your students. Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thank
Melissa.
you.